Pregame.com.
All right, here we go. Let's talk football. Golden Nugget, college football, games of the year, 13th, lucky 13th, Friday the 13th is when they're coming out here, from what I hear, at the Golden Nugget, probably around noontime. Crack staff, Tony Miller, Aaron's over there, along with everyone else, setting those lines. I'm going to discuss a little bit. I may not be there. Let me talk about why I may not be there when I've been there. Like each and every year, they've been putting them up. Every year, there's been more games put up, and now over 200. And I've noticed it's an evolution. It's very similar to when the LVH, the old Hilton, puts up their Super Bowl props. That I used to be salivating. I would get there. I would have so many wagers. Same thing with the Golden Nugget. I'd be firing away. But like everything else, times they change, and the numbers that they have put up on these games have consistently gotten stronger to the point where they're certainly beatable. I thought it was laughable. One of the other experts, who was pretty good, talked about how, oh, these numbers are so tight. No, they're not tight. How can you be tight putting up 200 numbers early? But the point is they're not way off like they used to be. And so the Golden Nugget has really sharpened their pencil. They're putting up pretty solid numbers, whereas they used to put up stuff that was quite a bit off, in my opinion. Also, you've got so much more competition. You've got the lines 20 deep, and people, the rules are you fire in 3 limit bets, you go to the back of the line, and they're just circling through. So what happens is that you don't have like all afternoon to chit chat, have a good time, put your bets in. It is a very stressful process. One, just trying to secure your place in line to get your first bet. Remember, there's going to be 15 people in that line immediately because they're putting out the rotation schedule before they put the lines up. Everyone's going to have their rotation schedule. They will be ready. So what you're going to find is you're going to have about, maybe 50 games you're interested in. You made lines on, you're ready to wager. And everyone else is going to see what you see because there's no injury, there's no weather. The bottom line is the same people are going to land on the same teams. They're going to be bullish on the same teams. And maybe the Golden Nugget will overreact. Remember, last year they did have a game where Iowa was playing Northwestern, and Iowa, I believe, was catching 11.5. So there are crazy numbers that, in retrospect, it's always easy after the fact, that do get put up. But the bottom line is, I remember on that Iowa line, I bet that once. I went back to the back of the line. By the time I got back, it had been triple popped and it was gone, basically. And so that's what happens, is that the really good bets are only going to be there for half an hour. I would lay right now, I'm going to make a wager here. I'm going to lay 200, minus 200, that the Golden Nugget will lose on their first pops. And the way I'll measure this is I will take their opening numbers, I'll compare it to what they are at the end of day one. Those are the opening pops. Any number that's moved, I will bet that those wagers will win. But I will also lay minus 200 that after that initial pop where they will lose, the Golden Nugget will earn and make money on all the wagers after day one. So just a matter of surviving the opener. They have a dime limit on these. I think they open it up to a 2-dime limit later on. It's really become a great media meet who's who in the industry and a way to get people out in the desert in 180-degree heat to go ahead and go inside and have a good old time. But I think as far as the advantage gambler, the value of going there and wagering, maybe if you showed up there with 20,000 looking to make 20 bets, you in the past, you probably could be pretty confident you're going to go 13-7 if you got 20 bets in. And now you might walk out of there with 8 bets that you're going to go 5-3 on, or 4-3-1. So is it worth your time to go over there? Well, if you've already done the work, absolutely, it's worth the time. In fact, I screamed at a few college football experts. There's one local college football expert who says, I put 500 hours into these teams. And I said, oh, well, you're going to be at the Golden Nugget, right, to bet this stuff? And he says, oh, I'm just too busy for that. And I'm like, what are you doing? Let's play on September 28th when everybody knows how good all these teams are. That's crazy. Now you're the only one in the world that knows how good these teams are, and maybe 3 other guys in line. Why wouldn't you go in there and bet the Iowas plus the 11.5s against the Northwesterns? Why wait and then decide if you want them, at Pick'em later on down the road? So I do think if you've already been working on your college football numbers and doing your research, my God, man, get to the Golden Nugget on June 13th. If you're like mere mortals like me and you've been working on the WNBA and pricing NBA props and doing all that, maybe it's not mandatory anymore because it's not like you're leaving that much money on the table because there's so many other guys who are coming in looking to get a piece of the loot, as Telly Savalas said in Capricorn 1 in that cheesy movie. You might remember Elliot Gould promises a third of the loot. Right before he swoops down, Elliot Gould says, land by those helicopters. And Telly Savalas says, they got guns, Sonny. And Elliot Gould responds by saying, half. I'll give you half the loot. You just got to land there in the Golden Nugget and get these bets in. And he does. And they save James Brolin and expose the fraud that was the Capricorn 1. I digress. I will try to be at the Golden Nugget. You should be there June 13th. If you're a college football advocate and a bettor, absolutely get down there. And we will be talking football each and every, I'd like to say each and every week, each and every month. Thanks for coming in and listening to the videos. I think Marco D'Angelo will be back with the well-oiled A-team later in the week, breaking down, no doubt, some baseball games, along with talk possibly about the Belmont and some of these other sports as well. Thanks for tuning in. Pregame.tv.